my last question before I ran out of time. The conversation between Min Doan and Cameron McDonald in October of 2022, that Marco Mendocino was so unhappy with the media attention to ArriveScam that he wanted someone's head on a platter, and that either Min Doan would be fired or you, sir, would be fired. He made specific reference to that. Then he turned and said that, you know, Cam, if I have to, I'm going to tell the committee that it was you. So he threatened Cam McDonald. That threat was then relayed up the chain of command. Ultimately, it was communicated to Aaron O'Gorman. And to your knowledge, sir, do you know if anyone, particularly Min Doan, was suspended or reprimanded for that threat? Yes or no?
So I think I could start with the comment made by the Minister. I am not aware of that comment. I've never come across it. In fact, I've never briefed the Minister at that time, and I was not informed.
Min Doan confirmed the conversation took place. All right, so we can move on from that. Do you know if Min Doan was reprimanded for his threat to Cameron McDonald? Yes or no?
No, I do not, but I understand that this investigation is ongoing.
Have you had any discussions with any of your ministers responsible for the portfolio during the ArriveScam rollout? That would include Mendocino, that would include Blair, and that would include LeBlanc. Have you had any personal discussions with any of your ministers?
So personally, I have briefed the ministers in terms of the SUPS-B and SUPS-C package in 2022. And also in terms of the announcement in the budget 2022 of the 25 million.
Did you update any of the ministers with respect to the overruns with the ArriveScam app?
No, because of those briefings, it was a briefing about the supplementary estimates to prepare them for committee.
Were you aware of any other senior executive who would have had those discussions? For instance, the President, the Deputy Minister, or Gorman and Osowski. Would they have had those discussions with those three ministers with respect to the cost overruns?
I'm not aware, but I can't comment on for my President.
Okay. You heard reference to the award that you received for the ArriveScam, which really begs the question, why was the award given in light of the Auditor General's report and the Procurement Ombudsman report? Can you actually provide us with documentation, sir, as to how the three individuals identified at CBSA received those awards? Were there nominations, things of that nature? Can you provide that to the committee within 3 weeks?
So again, I'm not aware of those awards, and so I'll have to come back to you on that.
Okay. We heard last week from PSPC that 3 additional companies that received taxpayer monies and should not have received those taxpayer monies are being now investigated by the RCMP. Those 3 companies were not identified by the PSPC because of privacy concerns. Are you familiar with those 3 companies in question, sir?
I am not familiar with those companies. However, I have been informed by PSPC that the CBSA is involved in this, and our involvement is limited to $15,000.
The CBSA is involved in relation to the 3 companies?
So I'm informed that the individuals who have been identified as fraudulently making claims, some of those claims relate to us. I think there are 36 different departments affected.
Right.
CBSA is affected up to $15,000.
Okay. And that was in relation to their supposed work on the ArriveScam app?
It's not necessarily in relation to the work on ArriveScam app.
But it could?
In relation to anything else.
But it could?
I'm not aware of the PSPC. I think you'd have to address that to
Okay.
PSPC.
To your knowledge, sir, are there any other companies that are operating under suspicious circumstances with their contracting at CBSA, either under the ArriveScam app or other work done at the request of CBSA that are being considered for RCMP referrals?
So I'm not aware of any at the moment, but as I've said before, we are now looking through all of the interactions to see if there are any examples. So, for example, we have done a review of our contractors who are working and whether they are included in the GEDS system, and we have identified a few names there, but I'm pleased to say in all of those cases we have spoken to the other employer.
Thank you, sir. I have in my hand a multi-page letter addressed to Ariane Reza, the assistant, as she was then was, Assistant Deputy Minister for PSPC, in relation to the request for a national security exception in relation to one company. I'm looking at the 3rd page of this document towards the bottom end of it. And you've indicated we have identified a supplier that has already successfully implemented a modern tool for risk assessments on shipments coming into Canada. That he was once involved with Transport Canada that leveraged technology to build a modern cloud-first approach, low-touch process to replace a manual high-touch process. That company in question is GC Strategies, Government of Canada Strategies. Is that correct?
So I do not believe so, mainly because it refers to shipments. It does not refer to individuals, but perhaps I could ask Mr. Leahy to answer that.
I am afraid that is our time.